Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? Thank you for coming back to our channel, Miriam. Let us talk about it. And the show is called Hearts of Resilience. I am here today with Miss D, and she is going to introduce herself because she does better at it. And my name is Miriam Sano. I am a life development coach and the owner and the CEO and founder of Let Us Talk About It Coaching. Miss D, would you like to introduce yourself today?
Hello, I am Danita Lynn Amante. They call me Miss D, and I am the founder of It's From Within Therapeutic Services. I'm a provisional licensed psychotherapist here in the state of Nebraska, and I am also a board certified life coach.
Okay, Ms. D, thank you for introducing yourself. And we are here today to talk about resilience with just
Yes,
resilience, period.
resilience.
Nothing else, and everything else is going to fall in between. But we are here to talk about resilience, the good and the bad, and the ugly, and also talk about how we resonate with what we've been through in our life and how resiliency resonates with us. And also, we'll talk about some of the positive things that about resilience, because I know that there's so much negative aspects that people think of it and how society think resilience is and how it actually connects to boundaries as well, right? So welcome to part two.
Yes,
Or let's call it episode two of Hearts of Resilience.
So come on, let's talk about it, resilience.
Okay, so you go first.
Alrighty, so resilience. So this is my question. What would be your first few things that you will contribute to that has really built and sustained your resilience for you?
Well, I think that being a business owner,
Okay.
and I'm the type of person that um, I have to learn everything the hard way.
Okay.
And I think growing up, I was always a resilience person, but I never used it, I guess, in the right way, and I didn't know when to use it or how to use it. So when I started my own business after going through so many people, dealing with so many people from all walks of life, I confused resilience with boundaries, right? So, and I didn't know which one was which, but as I grew in my business and in my personal life, I started to understand that the attributes that I had that I thought was being stubborn or selfish were actually me being resilient, right? Because I've been told so many times, a lot of times throughout my life, oh, you're stubborn, you don't listen, you always do what you want to do.
Okay.
But that was actually me being resilient.
Or so instead of people seeing the strength of it, they said you're stubborn.
Yes.
But the positive of what it really is in the aspect of resilience is that you're strong minded.
Yes, and I have a strong personality. It is strong because
Right.
if I say I'm not doing something, I'm not doing it, you know. And if I say I'm doing something, I am doing it under any circumstance. If I make a promise, I'm going to fulfill that promise. But if I say I'm not interested in whatever it is, nothing is going to make me do it, because the reason why I'm like that is because I think through things before saying yes, right? And I think through things before saying no. So I've also learned to separate my emotions, from the decisions that I make, right? Because a lot of times, again, throughout my life, I have made emotional decisions, and as a business owner, you cannot make emotional decisions, right?
no.
You have to make decisions that is right for your business, right for yourself, and right for the customers, right? So you have to take emotions out of this. And sometimes I do see myself making, teeny weeny emotional decisions, but it's nothing major that will contribute to the failure of what I'm doing. At least that's what I think. So that's what resilience have done for me. It has actually helped me to be able to separate the two in order to move forward in my life.
See, for me, my resilience has come from all of my struggles, to be honest. Um, all of my challenges, my disappointments, you know, that's what has built my resilience. Being divorced, um, losing a job, losing my health, you know, losing my mobility. So those struggles, being a parent, being a good parent, not just because there's a difference from just being a parent, you know.
Anybody can be a
But
parent,
right, but being that parent where you're doing your best to help your children become and live the lives of their highest capability. So, meaning that I knew that I had to raise my children to be resilient and for them to live and know how to exercise their resilience, you know. So that's where it's those things, those moments that a lot of people will choose to respond with having shame or embarrassment, but it's those things that build our resilience.
yes. I do agree with you to 1,000%, and I actually can relate when you to the health part. I, in the in September of 2022, I had to learn that I had to I had to let my resilience go. Yeah, I had to let it go. As much as I love having resilience, and I think it has helped me throughout my life, but I had to let it go because I got hospitalized in September of 2022. I could not do anything. Literally, I couldn't.
So you had to let go
Yes.
you had to let go on your strong
Yeah. I had to.
your strong dependence.
Yes, I had to have.
You had to let that go.
I had to
Yes.
let people help me
Right.
get out of bed.
Right.
As
Right.
far as even giving me a shower.
Right.
You know, I couldn't
Yep.
do anything, and that was so hard for me, and I was so frustrated because and then I was asking myself like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening to me? But as I lay there in a hospital for more than a week, almost a month, going back and forth, went through to 3 surgeries, I started to realize that, you know, God is putting me through this because He wants to also teach me of how to let go, of how to let people help me, and how to, you know, just
Number one, let go and let him. Let
yeah,
God.
and let Him
Yeah.
too, you
Let go and
know,
let God. Yeah.
because after my surgery, I thought I could just get up and start walking. You know, I told the doctors, I was like, oh, they're like, can you get up? I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with me. The moment I try to put my foot on the floor, oh, that pain, I started screaming, and I just lay right back on that bed, and I was like, you know what? Nope, I need help, you know. And from that day on, I think that's what helped me to be able to differentiate when to use or have resilience and when not to, you
See,
know.
in that story, what I received from that is how you allow the strength of your strong willness. And so that's one of your attributes to you being resilient is your strong will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I do believe too that we can kind of abuse
Let it get in our way.
our resilience, our resiliency, because again, we get to a point where it feels good to say no to something that you've been saying yes to for so long. And once you say no, no to it, you feel the power, and it's just like a high. And you're like, oh my God, why haven't I been doing this for so long? And you just go on this journey of just trying to be big and bad to all the wrong people and at the wrong place at the wrong time. And you're like, oh, I have resiliency now. But resiliency does not mean saying no to everything that comes along and not wanting to participate in certain things. It doesn't mean that.
You're talking about boundaries now.
Yeah.
No.
Well, resilience and boundaries, they go hand in hand, because if you have resilience, then there is some kind of boundaries there, because it's like resilience can be falling down. For example, the Japanese proverb, as I mentioned before, fall 7 times instead of 8, right? Okay, so if you fall down 10 times, I believe you should stand up 20 times. That's what I believe in.
No matter how many times you fall
you
down,
got to get up,
keep getting
right?
back up.
So
And that's what's being resilient, because you keep getting back up.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, resiliency also comes with boundaries, as you mentioned before, because if you're resilient, let's just say, and somebody tells you you can't do something, right? And you're resilient enough to go ahead and pursue that and do what they've told you cannot do, right? But in order to do that, you have to have discipline, right? And in order to have discipline, you need to set boundaries, right? So it's one thing
So
leading to another. It's a connection.
What I take from what you're saying is that boundaries is a component to you maintaining your resiliency.
Exactly.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right. It is a
It is a
component.
foundations
Yep.
of one of the foundations of it. You can't do one without the other.
Right.
That would be like you trying to run away from your shadow. You can't run away from your shadow. It follows you everywhere. So, yeah, exactly.
Why you keep following me? See,
So it's like you can't run away from it. And it's balance. One balances the other one out, right?
Yeah, perfect way to
So, and you can't even do both of them if you don't have the obedience to do it. You need to
the
be
obedience way. Is it obedience or is it commitment?
Commitment. You need
Commitment.
need commitment.
The discipline. The discipline.
Yeah.
The
So you need the
discipline.
discipline, the
Right.
commitment, because when you set boundaries, again, that takes us from resilience. But when you set boundaries, you have to be willing to have discipline. For example, and we also forget that when you set boundaries, you don't just set boundaries for other people.
For yourself.
You have to set boundaries for yourself.
That's right.
So it's same thing.
It starts with self first, actually.
Yes, it's also same thing with resilience. Same thing. Like you want to be resilient towards other people and other things, but you have to set it for yourself too, because you also have things that you do that you shouldn't be doing or you don't want to do. So you have to be willing to tell yourself, I'm not going to do this. That's resilience towards yourself.
Well, I kind of, for me, I think I frame that resilience is the result of. So by me having boundaries, by me being faithful, being consistent, being motivated, being strong, those things is the result of me being resilient. That's what I see. Like eating right, exercise, and drinking your water, that's the result of being fit and having that physique that one desires.
Okay, well, I'm going to go again to refresh everybody's mind about what resilience is. I did read this in part one of the show, and here we go. Resilience refers to the ability to bounce back or recover quickly from setbacks, adversity, or challenging situations. It involves adapting positively to difficult circumstances, maintaining mental and emotional strength in the face of adversity, and often learning and growing from the experience. So that is kind of what society's, I guess, definition is of resilience. But as I said before, resilience goes beyond that.
But that was a great, you know what? That was a great example that you got there, because the words that I wrote down from what you read: bounce back, adapt,
Adversity.
maintain, learning and growing.
Yeah.
And all of those are key things to have resiliency.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And
I
being
like
able
that.
and being
Yeah.
able to bounce back. You gotta bounce back. That's
Yeah.
resilience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that in life itself, you have to have resilience, because if you don't, I'm not saying you won't get far, but it might take you a little longer to get
the
there.
quality of that life
Yeah,
ain't.
because
It ain't a quality
life
of
is
life
about
that I want.
falling down and getting back up, and it's gonna happen a lot. So you have to be able to, just get back up
Yeah.
all the time.
You gotta
Every time,
continue.
continue getting up
Yeah.
all the time. You know.
But I also, for me also, in getting up and being resilient, it's the attitude and the
Oh,
energy that you do it in, So yes, you can bounce back, and then you're grumbling and you're complaining about it, and you got bad energy. It's very different from bouncing back in a positive mindset, being motivated, and doing it and manifesting how this is going to end, how this challenge is going to end. That's part of resilience.
yeah. I think what I'm hearing from you is that you're saying that you need to have positive self-talk,
Yes, absolutely.
positive self-talk in
Mindset.
order mindset. You
Yeah.
have to be able to really control that, and that is that's easy to do in most ways and also
Or
challenging.
yes.
If you have
Yeah.
had negative mindset for 20 years, you working on it is not going to,
It's gonna be
yeah,
a
you
daily
can't get
work.
rid of it. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, it's a daily work.
It's a
A
daily
daily work.
work, affirmations after affirmations, really surrounding yourself with positive people,
Being
people who are
gratitude,
going to
having
having
gratitude.
gratitude. That's one
Yeah.
of my, I think that's one of my greatest strengths, gratitude. I have so much gratitude
Yeah.
every single day that I get up. I have gratitude for everything. Even when I'm having the worst moment, I have gratitude. But, going back to the negative self-talk, the study actually shows that a single person has about 60,000 negative self-talk in a day, 12 to 60,000 a day, right? So that's a lot.
Yes. What's that percentage again?
12 to 60,000 negative self-talk a day. And this might fluctuate through study, but you can Google it
Yeah.
and see it. But 12 to 60,000 negative self-thoughts a day. So what does that tell you?
So what's the numbers? Do you know what the numbers on for positive self-talk by any chance?
Well, I didn't really look into that.
Okay,
And even if I
okay.
did, I wouldn't probably say here because it might be inaccurate. Again, as
Yeah,
study
just
goes on and stuff like that.
yeah.
But this is to say that, but I will tell you though, one, positive self talk can overrule, I believe, like 10 negative self talk.
Whatever the number
And
is,
then,
you're right. That's the key to
and then
yes.
vice versa too. One negative self talk can take away all your positive self talk. You could have 200 positive self talk, but one negative self talk can kind of like just shadow all of that. And I say this to say this is the reason why I'm very selective of who I am around. I'm very selective of who
Have to
I
be.
conversate with. I'm very selective of who I choose to be my
You
friend.
have to be.
This is not because I'm too picky, but this has to do with my mental health. I am in a place right now where I would say that I'm a little vulnerable. I am a business owner and things happen every day in my life. Unexpected things happen. You wake up with one schedule,
Yep.
you end up doing 1,000 other things that has nothing to do with the schedule
Yep.
that you go wake up with. Sometimes it can be very frustrating, right? And then in the midst of that moment, you start to have negative self-talk. Can I do it? This is too much. Will I make it? Am I making a mistake?
Oh, I'm
Or
so
should I just go, yeah,
frustrated.
or
I'm
should I
so
just go back to what
irritated
I'm
right
doing?
now. Yep.
And all of that is
Yep.
actually self-doubt. And I guess it can go in the category of negative self-talk. So imagine if you're already thinking that yourself and you also have friends and you're around other people that is adding and contributing to that negative self-talk, you start to believe in it. And I say your own lie because a lot of time, most people who have these negative self-talk talks are one of the smartest people that I know. They're one of the most intelligent people that I know. They get up every day and they grind and grind and grind and they just hustlers and everything. And again, but when you're in the midst of just frustration, and imagine you've been doing something for years, 10 years, 5 years, you know, it's, I want to say it's normal to have negative self-talks. You know, it's almost like sometimes you have two brains, right? Two minds, I like to say, two minds, and one is telling you, you can do it. You're almost there to the finish line, and then you have the other side of your mind telling you,
the devil and the
yeah, so
angel.
you can't do it. Just go back to sleep. You're not, you know, you like you're a failure. You haven't done anything. No, so it's surrounding yourself with positive people and people who's going to inspire you and motivate you and actually just tell you how smart you are. That's the people you need in your life, whether you own a business or not. In just life, that's what you need. It's good for your mental health, you know. I always like to say, like, I'm a self-motivated person. I'm a strong person. Even the most self-motivated person and the most
need
strongest
both.
person, you still need another human being
Yeah.
presence to tell you all the things that you believe you already know about yourself, right? You know, that's how we're made. God made us in a way where we need another person's sometimes validation, you
The
know.
social.
Yes,
Yeah.
it balances out, but as much as we shouldn't focus on what people think about us in order to grow, we still need to, that's those same people to tell us how smart we are and to motivate us and stuff like that.
Or, you know, or even just, I think it's, yes, we do, but not even so much that we need them to tell us that how smart they
We
are
want
to
them.
us. Is it that, or is it just to hear that they see the appreciation of how smart you are,
Yes.
you know? But connecting that with our theme of resilient, that's where, and boundaries, because that's where having boundaries so that you're protecting yourself from that negative energy, you know, so that you're staying positive, so that you're not making emotional decisions that's affecting your business, your personal life, you know, so that you're doing those positive things that keeps you in line of building and adding to your resiliency.
I totally do agree with you. And again, going back to what I was saying, and this is really kind of like a reminder to everyone. This is the second show that about, and we're still talking about resilience. The only difference is that we have added a little bit more boundaries to it, right? In my life, as I mentioned before, I've been so surrounded, and I'm gonna end this with the show, end the show with this though. In my life, I grew up around resilient women. My mother, you know, is a business owner, entrepreneur, you know, never went to school, didn't even know how to write her name. And from my aunts and just women who have built empires, women who have made it, women who have, I mean, done it all, right? Who has started their own business from scratch with no money in their pocket and to be able to make it that far. So being around a group of women like that and growing up in an environment like that taught me that resilience can get you to places that you can't even imagine. And I saw the positive side of resilience opposed to the negative side of resilience and what people think resilient people are or what they seem to be or what kind of attitude they have. And I think, again, being in that environment is actually the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because sometimes I am doing something and I have no idea what I'm doing. Absolutely no idea. But I tell myself that, you know, when you start, you'll figure it out, you know,
Absolutely.
and you might not figure it out overnight, but it's a learning process. It's this life's journey that we're on. So just keep going, keep practice. Practice makes better, right?
It
So,
does. It really
yeah,
does.
it makes better. So the more you
Yeah.
practice, the better you become at it.
Yeah.
And the more questions you ask, the more you know about it. So, but all of that is resilience, because when you don't have resilience, you
Exactly.
won't do none of that, right?
Exactly.
You know that knowing that you can do it makes you do other
Exactly.
things. Knowing you can do it makes you ask the question.
Yeah.
Knowing that you can do it, you know, pushes you to go and find out what you want to find out. So that is what shaped my resilience, and that's why I am resilient today. And I do thank
Yes.
all those women who has
Yes,
played a part in my
absolutely.
life to show me the positive aspect of what resilience is.
Yes.
And I am greatly grateful for that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you had nothing but a beautiful example.
of what
So
resilience
your
is.
end result was that you are a resilient being.
Yeah,
It's from within.
yeah,
From
and
within.
it's again till
Yeah.
this day, you know, I mentioned the women, like I always mention my brother, like he's another reason why I am the way I am today. You know, sometimes I'll be so frustrated, and all of a sudden I'll see a text message on my phone, saying something really positive, you know. And he's always told me how smart I am. He's always told me how much energy that I have. In fact, he worried that I had too much energy, that I would do too many things and wouldn't focus on one thing. But his mantra to me, his mantra is always, Miriam, focus and consistency.
Right.
Focus and consistency. And
Yeah.
and it's so crazy because I actually wrote it. I actually framed it. I wrote it and I wrote focus and consistency, and it's hung on my wall. So every time I know I'm losing focus and I'm
You
not
can't
being
be
consistent
consistent.
with something,
Yes.
I turn around and look at that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's like him standing right behind me, and I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So then I take a break, come back, and I refocus on what I'm doing, and I continue to do what I have started.
Yeah.
Because I also had a habit of starting a lot of things and not finishing
them
it.
done.
And we have to realize that when you start something and you don't finish it, what happens is that you get sad. Am I making sense? Like when
There's a
you haven't,
disappointment.
yeah, it is
There's a
in
disappointment.
yourself.
Yeah.
So it's very important to start a task and finish it, because when you do that, you kind of prove to yourself that you have made it and you can do it.
Yes, it builds your confidence.
It builds your
And
confidence.
so when we do something, we don't. Now we have just done something that chisel away
Yeah.
from our confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am so grateful to have been around so many people
Yeah.
who have opened that path and paved that way for me.
And that goes to show how our circle around us,
Yeah.
our social network that's around us, how important that it is.
Oh yes, it is. And
Yeah.
and as I mentioned before, we have to be very careful with who we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely.
Yep. So Ms. D, would you like to leave the audience off with anything about resilience and boundaries, now that we have add boundaries to the second show?
Okay, so when let's start with boundaries. That boundaries are necessary and essential, and so it's self-love. That's how you love and take care of yourself. So establish boundaries, and what does that look like? You already know what your schedule is, and your friend calls and was like, "Oh, girl, let's go do this," or can you? Or they're requesting something. Your boundary that no, I can't. No, I can't. But where the boundary comes in is that you won't allow them to come and respond in a way that you feel guilty for not being able to do that. Your boundaries is your way of how we make the contract or how we want people to treat us. So we got to have boundaries. They're necessary to live by. And what was our second part? I was going to end it with boundaries and resilient. And remember that overcoming, striving, and achieving is all parts that builds your resilience.
Okay, thank you, Ms. D, for sharing that with everyone. And thank you all for watching Hearts of Resilience on Miriam. Let us talk about it. And tune in for more episodes about us giving a chance to people to be able to open up and speak their mind. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Like or don't like, again, and comment and ask us any questions that you would like. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.